We the people unite.
Hey, welcome to We the People Unite. It's our flagship Wednesday. How's everybody?
Living the dream.
On that ship.
Love boat.
Another week, more chaos. We're here to talk about it. Yeah. So if you're in the comments, if you're in the chat, let us know. Say hello. Let us know you're here. I'm Kim Page, and our panel tonight, we have August and Katie and Lori, Andrea and Maureen. A few people missing this week. Sometimes y'all just need a break. We need a break, right? So if you look at our thumbnail, one of the things as we get ready to go into midterms is really important. And it's a continuation of what Katie did with the AIPAC money and the donations on both the Democrat and the Republican side. And then Keisha followed up with more of the dark money. Where is that money coming from? Who's it going to? So we're going to continue a little bit of that follow the money and do a little bit of education on where we can find information about who takes money from where, but also talk about the fact that it's not anymore. It is not Democrat. It is not Republican. It is not independent. It is about top versus the bottom. It's from the top down. The top having all the power, the money, the control, and the rest of us kind of having to just to get by.
Leftovers.
The leftovers. And I think when you see some of the data, it's like, geez, it's pretty eye-opening. I think our eyes were opened when we looked at the AIPAC dollars. Basically, more Democrats were taking it than Republicans. So yeah, Jazzy, it was a great segment on that. Hey, Angry Army Vet. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But first, to also get ready for the midterms, if y'all haven't seen, there's something called an autopsy report that came out from the election 2024 of the Harris-Walz campaign, telling us what they think is the reason why we lost. What are the reasons that we lost? So let's talk about that first, because I think it's important for us to do a debrief. It's always a good idea.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I thought we lost because they believed what Trump was saying, even though he tells the truth and he lies at the same time. It's a good quality. He knows how to captivate an audience and them to believe him. And he just lying to them the whole time, and he'll dance and say, y'all fools.
And I agree with that. And what's interesting, it's not in the autopsy report. And why? So we'll have a conversation about that. But there were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll bring up the actual report after this, but these are some of the highlights. So the first thing they're saying is it was voter disenchantment, losing a whopping 6.8 million voters who supported Biden in 2020 proved pivotal in this extremely close election. Harris's inability to mobilize these pro-Biden voters may have been the campaign's biggest failure. And let's not comment until we get to the end, and then we'll break these down a little bit. Biden's betrayal, they say, is a big one. I don't know if I would have named it Biden's betrayal, but they talk about the former President Biden's disastrous decision to run for re-election and his stubborn refusal to step aside until very late in the process really robbed voters of a democratic primary process, created confusion and chaos, and severely hindered Democrats' chances. Next was abandoning the working class base. So with millions of Americans already disenchanted and desperate due to inflation, the Harris campaign lost the essential Democratic base, this essential Democratic base, by focusing on courting Republicans, kowtowing to corporate donors' interests, and failing to confront the role of corporate greed in escalating inflation. I disagree. She talked about that a lot. The Gaza Effect, which I think is a big one. There is ample evidence that Harris lost many voters, especially young voters, Arab Americans, and critical support in Michigan and elsewhere due to the campaign's failure to shift or even signal a potential shift in policy on Israel and Palestine. And then finally, they're saying that losing young voters, extensive evidence shows a huge drop-off in both turnout and Democratic support among young voters, which some of these I think can be combined because they already said the Gaza effect affected young voters. So that's part of it. I think voter disenchantment was probably part of Gaza and Biden. So some of these can be combined. There are a few things left out. So let's open up the floor because we can go into more detail with the other report. But what are your thoughts?
Another thing I want to add is, wasn't it when it came to Harris and Walz, like they didn't have a lot of control over the campaign itself. Like you could kind of tell when, I think it was Tim Walz was calling them like Republicans weird and stuff, that's when other people took over and were like, whoa, step back. We can't be like insulting them and stuff. And it just it got very insincere, the campaign.
So agree, disagree? Let's have a conversation.
Well, I'm agreeing with Jazzy and with Angry Army Vet that I think people were turned off by her along with her feelings. I was reading it that y'all took it away. And thank you, along with her feelings, like they didn't have a choice but her.
Yeah.
Woke up the evil, racist, bigots, and created a villain which wins in cults. And that's what Don says a lot of times, is they have a cult now, and they just didn't believe her. I mean, like I said, Donald Trump is very convincing in his words. I don't know why he hypnotizes the people. I don't know how they get so hypnotized.
I don't understand that. That's the part that's really hard for me, how anyone could be hypnotized by him. But I guess I'm just not there, right? But it's hard. It's hard to see young people feeling that way. We need to turn that around.
And she was even offering, money for homes, for school, after care for the children and elderly care for the parents. Like she was saying, she was singing my song.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Put Jazzy's comment back up, please, August, because I want to unpack this just a little bit.
Which one? The campaign?
The last one. So the campaign was being run by Biden's staff, who I personally think was sabotaging Harris. Remember we read the book and we did a review. Do we remember
Yes.
some of the things? Yeah. She did feel that Biden's staff, I think all along, was trying to sabotage her.
Yeah, they were saboteurs.
Even in her vice presidency, they kept her in the background. I think that's where it all started, because a lot of people were saying, and not rightly so, because I pushed back on that. Well, she didn't do much as vice president. Well, you know what? No vice president does a whole lot unless the president gives them projects to do. So that's, and I was surprised that Biden didn't give her more, because he was given more by Obama.
Right. I was thinking about that.
And she was not the border czar. She was not. Let's just be honest about that. That's something that Trump brought to the table.
Yeah. All the lies. And that's what's interesting that's missing in this. Yeah. The one thing that was a lot were the bro culture. There was part of that wasn't addressed. Maybe the campaign could have appealed more to that base. And then the whole just Trump effect. I mean, they were horrible to her.
Well,
could you put the list back up? So
absolutely. Let me pull up a little bit different one that's easier to see.
And there's a poll up for our viewers if you would like. I put a poll up.
Seemed to be giving more things for his son-in-law to do than J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, I feel, is not making no kind of effect on the public.
But you got to remember, VPs, they really don't.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that Donald Trump was the one that kept pointing out that Kamala was not doing anything as vice president, and I'm saying that J.D. Vance is not doing nothing either. So, you know, that's what
Is this the list? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. But she made a lot of visits like Vance does to our foreign leaders. So she did a lot of that.
And when she went to the border, they act like they didn't want to be bothered with her. When she would go walk around on the border with her, they didn't really want to be bothered with her.
I think I want to talk to number 3, abandoning the working class base. That is a bunch of crock.
Yeah.
That one I do not agree on. And he pulled us out of inflation. So that sounds like, I don't know who wrote that statement. I don't know what world they were living in, but not ours.
Yeah.
I think
sorry, Katie.
I think it's because he just loved to talk about how Trump was going to help the working class and the working class people and blah blah blah, and they got duped.
Yep.
We all knew they were going to get duped, and the only thing I can think of is maybe they didn't talk about it enough to say, like, he is lying to you.
They didn't even believe he's going to come after all of the illegal immigrants. They didn't even believe that.
No.
I think the number one for the young people, I think it really was Gaza. That atrocity was definitely on top stage. I really believe that.
Well, and that's where at least 1.5 million or more votes went.
But they believe the eggs too.
To third party.
Well, and Jazzy has a good comment here about, like, she was saying that they did not abandon the working class, but Trump, convinced people that they did. And again, it goes back to COVID and what happened with our economy and the inflation. So Trump's like, oh, you have higher prices stuff. That's because of Biden, not because of me. I saved y'all kind of attitude, and which is crap. And on top, but the thing is you got to remember what Trump's base is. I'm still dealing with these idiots from high school who are like, oh, he's still the greatest president in the world. He can't lie. And I'm like, okay, here's like 1, 2, 3, 4, all verified. So, she didn't lose the working class. She just lost because of the rhetoric that Trump kept saying. And then on top of it, if you look at it now, it's like we're even worse shape with Trump, and he hasn't done a damn thing to help.
He actually is destroying the world. He's going further than the United States. He's destroying the whole world. And then when he said to cease fire, what did they do? Okay, let's catch them while they sleep then. We'll shoot them now.
Yeah. The other part of that little paragraph is also they lost a central Democratic base by focusing on courting Republicans. What do you think about that?
A lot of people did not like when she started palling around with Liz Cheney.
Some people didn't, but I don't think it was that big of a deal that people are making, because what she was trying to do is get independents and Republicans to understand that, hey, it's a threat right now. But
Yeah.
people didn't like it, yes. However, I don't think it was that big of a deal. I could be naive about it, but I'm just saying. Yeah,
Oh.
Dalaloo,
No,
I
but
hear you.
again, it goes back to the Trump propaganda that she's a
Machine.
warmonger. And so that just piled upon the Gaza issue and Israel. And I think that's, again, the lies coming from the
something I found out when I was doing some AIPAC research too was it says that Kamala has all this backing from AIPAC, but a lot of it came from Biden when she transferred over to run for 2024. So she, like Jazzy, I believe Jazzy said, she has
Marley.
Hi, Marley. She has much
Hi.
more sympathetic views on Gaza and the people
Correct.
there. Yeah.
I'm going to throw something else at. I still don't think they want to vote for a woman.
That's where I'm at.
Over and over again, and I'm afraid it continues to go on for both the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yeah, they don't want a woman, and they certainly don't want a woman of color.
No, a woman,
and
a
so-
white woman.
What
They want
That's what I
Hillary.
meant. Neither. They don't.
Yeah.
They turned their backs on Hillary, who was the most qualified at the time.
Yeah.
what they didn't see actually was he was going with the haves and the have-nots. They didn't see that. They didn't see he was only interested in money. And to this day,
Yeah.
he's only interested in money. And I haven't heard nobody really talking about the $63 million what's her name? She went on MS Now the other Monday and was talking about the Trump library, that money has disappeared now. I forgot her name.
Yeah, the money's gone.
The money's disappeared, and then they collected another 50 million, and they don't know where that money is. So they don't know where this money is. And Elon Musk is talking about wanting to have the biggest app in the world, and he's already putting porn on it that people aren't even soliciting for, and he's putting porn on this app. It's a big story going on right now that people are not talking about.
Well, let's we're welcoming Marley. Welcome.
Hi.
Let's just play a little bit of a clip of someone talking about it, and then we're gonna talk about money. We're going to talk about following the money quite a bit.
Largely because of her position on Gaza. At least according to this Axios article we're going to talk about, which sheds light on a DNC autopsy about the 2024 election that the party is choosing to keep from the public. Now, the article explains that party officials held closed-door meetings with pro-Palestinian groups as part of their investigation into why they lost, and IMEU in particular told them that their complicity with the Palestinian genocide cost them support with Arab Americans as well as young people and progressives, and party officials confirmed this with them. A spokesperson for IMEU says the DNC shared with us that their own data also found that the policy was, in their words, a net negative in the 2024 election, and Axios verified that the party officials who conducted the autopsy did in fact conclude that the issue harmed the party's standing with some voters. Now, keep in mind that this is just another piece of evidence that points to Gaza being a major factor in Kamala Harris's defeat. A different autopsy on the 2024 election by Roots Action concludes that the Gaza Effect was one of 5 main reasons why Harris lost the election, particularly because young voters as well as Arab American voters in key states like Michigan didn't want to come out and vote for her since she refused to break with Biden on his unconditional support for Israel. And to go back to the IMEU data that they presumably presented to the DNC, they found that nearly 30% of 2020 Biden voters in swing states who didn't vote for Harris in 2024 say that their number one issue was Gaza, and more than a third of them said that they would have voted for Harris if she promised to withhold weapons to Israel. So it's not surprising to see the DNC come to the same conclusion, because even without all of the data, it was pretty obvious. And it's an open secret in DC that she did indeed lose because of her position on Israel-Palestine, but they just don't want to admit that. But just to show you what I mean, a comms director for Omar and Ellison in Minnesota says when you talk to Democratic operatives in D.C. privately, Every single one of them admits that Gaza is the reason Harris lost. It is universally believed, and nobody will talk about it publicly. It's why the DNC didn't publish its post-mortem. But it's not like they weren't warned, because Waleed Shahid adds, for over a year, I warned operatives, pollsters, and Biden-Harris staff that Gaza policy was costing us votes. I was told it wasn't in the numbers. After the election, some conceded it was a political calculation that shifting risked Harris looking too liberal to voters and donors. In the end, risk aversion and condescension masqueraded as wisdom. It cost lives, it cost trust, it may have cost an election. So the Democratic Party's base wanted a weapons embargo or for Harris to condition aid at a minimum, and she refused to listen. Even
I'm going to stop there. I'm going to put the link to this in the description. You can listen to the whole thing.
Can I say one thing?
I think.
Can I please say one thing?
Yeah, August.
Are we winning yet? Because you didn't vote? Guess what? A lot of people have died. Gaza is right now ripped up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because you chose to go with this idiot. That's all I got to say. You can continue.
And just also remember that they're lied to the people, like especially in Michigan. I live in Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan is a huge area of Muslim Americans. And part of my small town, we have a little area that's called Camp Dearborn. And it was created by the citizens of Dearborn that come just to get away from Dearborn. It has like 6 man-made lakes, paddle boats and stuff. And the thing is he outright lied to them about Gaza and his support. So, he took advantage of that, but I get what the report was saying.
I know
think that
Marley. Yeah, go ahead, Marley.
I don't know. I just want to say that Kamala Harris was the vice president at the time, and she couldn't go against Biden. She was the vice president, and she was a candidate. So I think that's why she couldn't say what she really felt about Gaza. And also, I'm kind of a little peeved because the people that did a protest vote, I don't really see them protesting like they did during the time of the election.
Because they
were closing down campus. Yes, but still, I don't know. Where's the passion that everyone had? It just disappeared. Even though their views.
I really hear you. They had all that passion. They was out there, but right now they have nothing to say because everyone's running scared because he's deporting everyone. So they don't want to come up. You saw the Muslim girl or the Palestinian young lady, the student, she was taken off the streets. So it's like you can't sit back and say, oh, well, I didn't vote for her because of her position on Gaza. Guess what? He still got you in the pockets.
Netanyahu is his man, and Putin is his girl.
Yeah, and he wants to build hotels in Gaza. Now, am I remembering maybe incorrectly, but I thought, didn't Kamala kind of boycott Bibi coming in and speaking?
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Didn't
Your
she?
memory is spot on, but they don't remember that.
Thank you.
I'm going
They
to
don't
ask
remember
you
that.
a stupid question, maybe. Who put the autopsy report together? I mean, I've heard about it before us talking today, but who actually put that together?
There's the DNC does one.
Okay.
This one, I forget who did this one, but mainly it comes from the DNC. They do an autopsy.
I don't trust the DNC.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't trust. Who's the head of it? Ken Martin? I just have a weird feeling about him and all of them too.
So who do you trust, Katie? Who do you trust?
Who do I trust? I trust people that are actually doing things to help.
And who is that? So our audience, our viewers can know, because you're saying that you don't trust the DNC. So
do you remember when David Hogg was like the vice vice chair or something of the DNC. And if you don't know who David Hogg is, he was
I'm well aware of him.
No, I'm saying for our audience.
For our
I know
audience.
you're aware.
Parkland.
For those of you who don't know who David Hogg is, he was a Parkland shooter survivor, and he and a bunch of his classmates like went to DC for, anti-gun reform, and like I'm pretty sure he went face to face with Marjorie Taylor Greene at one point, and then he won his election for the DNC, and because they thought that his views were too radical, like getting big money out, they got rid of him. And I don't trust people who take big money. I trust people like David Hogg, like AOC, who does not take any PAC money. I trust people like Bernie, who is 83 years old and still has yet to take money from big people. Like basically the people who are on the I don't take any money from APAC list, which is about 10 people.
Yeah.
I trust. That's about it. Just because that's where I feel like that's where we are at this moment.
Yeah, my daughter met David.
It's scary. It really is.
And if they're going to blame Kamala for her views, former Vice President Kamala Harris for her views or stance on Gaza, why are so many Democrats like taking APAC money? Like nobody's changing their game or how it's like.
There are a couple senators and reps that have really started to denounce APAC. Chris Murphy is one of them. Ro Khanna is really stepping back. Elizabeth Warren. There are some that are finally like, no, I'm speaking out against this. But then we do have some still like Hakeem,
Cory,
Chuck Schumer, oh my God, Cory Booker is just, or as the Threads calls him, Cory Book Tour.
So I guess for me, we just need to be careful when we say we don't trust the DNC, because you do have people that you mentioned, you named off, you rattled off at least 7 people from that's a part of the DNC that we can look forward to them trying to do the right thing. It's bad on both sides, okay?
Yeah.
What about Ossoff? Is it Ossoff who's come out and talked?
John Ossoff, the last I
Ossoff.
saw, he took like $5 million. He and Warnock have taken a lot of money.
Wow.
I really like what he says, It
could change. It could change.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah. And I like Warnock too. So like he's been really posting a lot on YouTube and showing a lot of, the lies that are going on. But, when it comes down to the day, it's like if you keep taking the money, you're going to not, you're keeping the war powers,
Guys, we have to be careful, because sometimes if we're not out there giving them the money, where you think they're going to get money from in order to stay in the race, to stay in this game? There is a two-edged sword right here that we need to be careful on why and what's really going on behind closed doors. It's easy to look at the documentation. It's easy to say that, but we got to see full picture.
It's been a problem in our country for a long time, the money. And
Thank you for the segue. Go ahead, Maureen. Go ahead. Keep talking. Keep talking.
From way back then. And they got to do it now. They got to stop doing that. They need to be fair to everybody when they're campaigning.
So it's where do they get the money? Is the question. If they don't get it from us, they don't get it from the citizens, where do they get the money? So we're going to talk about today that right now, because it's not just APAC. Let me put up something that you might find interesting. So if we follow the money and where the donations are coming from for all of our, fix my headset. Sorry, my earbuds went out. We have kind of 3 major industries. There are quite a few, but if you look at the top 3, we look at the pharmaceuticals, defense and aerospace, securities, and investments. And this slide is obviously pretty busy, but it really gives us an indication of kind of what's going on behind the scenes. So if we look at 2023 to 2024, this is big money, 352 million from the pharmaceutical industry given to our politicians. And why do they give money to our politicians?
So we'll use CVS.
So let's talk about pharmaceuticals. What do they care about? They care about drug pricing and patents. They care about regulation and approvals. They care about market exclusivity. How do they influence? By lobbying, campaign contributions, funding research and think tanks. It's a revolving door of employment. Policy impacts is the answer I was looking for, because high drug prices, limited price negotiations, patent extensions, slower reform. So it's policy and regulation are the things that they are trying to control. So keep pharmaceuticals in mind, because we're going to look at some politicians in a minute. Defense and aerospace is a big one right now. What do they care about? They care about higher defense budgets, government contracts, weapons sales abroad. How do they influence? By lobbying and campaign contributions. Relationships and influence, district economic impact. What are their policy examples? Increased military spending, favorable contract terms, less audit and oversight. Again, regulation, foreign military sales. 2.82 million. And these are conservative numbers. This just comes from one source. Securities and investments was interesting because I see this come up a lot with our politicians. They care about lower taxes. Who got the biggest tax breaks this last year? They care about less regulation, market stability. Again, they lobby, they give campaign contributions. They use think tanks and policy groups. The industry kind of expert status in that. So you got a lot of big companies in this. Obviously, they want tax policy that's favorable to them, deregulation, looser oversight. What happened to our Consumer Protection Agency?
I get it.
Yeah.
Or is it
completely?
Yeah, cut.
Bailouts in a crisis. Remember the banks?
And the airplane.
So again, there's a common thread here, right? They fund the campaigns on both sides, and we're going to see that. They gain access, they have influence, policies reflect their priorities, not ours. And that's something we have to continue to keep in mind. These are different industries with different priorities, but it's the same damn system.
Why would you pick somebody for president that has declared bankruptcy 6 times?
Yeah.
And what you think he's bankrupting the country with, with like, and the lady I was talking about was Elizabeth Warren. She was on MS Now and talking about all the money that is disappearing.
Yeah. Well, and it's like putting a bank robber in charge of bank security. I mean,
well, it's just like the elderly people, Jazzy, when they go in the hospital and what they do is they keep them so doped up that they OD. They OD. And so they done got all their money from the pharmaceuticals. They don't want to feed them. They not eating. They too drunk and high to eat.
Also, another thing to think about is there are medicines that have like dyes in them that are the same dyes that go into our food.
Oh yeah, that's been a problem for a while.
I know this because I have a red dye allergy and I have to check everything whenever I'm.
Oh no, Jazzy, you're asking the right questions. They want us all to just go with the flow. No, we're not. Continue to ask those questions. Be curious.
And this is why, because I watched the interview with our 4 past presidents, which I highly recommend. And if we have time, I'll show a clip of that. But Bush actually made the comment, and we've talked about this on, I forget, God, it was been a while now, that it's our responsibility as American citizens to be informed. We can't just go with the flow. We can't just take what people are telling us. We have to do the homework. And this is part, I think, of doing this homework. And so if we want to be self-governed, then we can't be complacent. We have to be informed citizens. And that's one of the things he was saying that I agreed with.
Yeah, that goes under banning the books.
Well, they want us dumb. They want us dumb and poor. So this is another chart that looks at how kind of each group operates, from Democrats, Republicans, and independents. And so I made a kind of a few notes on this. Some of this can get a little crazy. So Democrats, they kind of had this internal divide, right? And I think some of them, they get pulled by citizens, they get pulled by their constituents. Sometimes I think it's just lip service. Sometimes I don't think our Democratic representatives are completely honest with us. But they typically support expanded programs, focus on access and coverage, slower cost of disruption, incremental change, but not structural reform. See, this is the difference. We need structural reform in this. These little small incremental changes aren't going to do us any good at this point. And maybe this is the opportunity for us to kind of revamp this whole system. So go ahead.
I don't understand that when Democrats are in charge and the country's doing better, then we want a Republican so that they can just make it all crazy again. I mean, I don't understand why people are not watching that we were going better. Biden had finally, and he was doing good. He just, that day he had that, they had that debate, he just wasn't feeling well, but even his answers to me were still honest, and Donald Trump was not being honest, and he just has taken our country off a cliff, but they'll vote for Republican again.
Biden on his worst day is still better than this idiot on his best day. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, and what happens is, like with Biden, he got blamed for the economy that was caused by COVID. That we recovered faster than any other country. And people don't talk about that enough.
Talk about it, they go brain dead.
Well, the problem is we live in this instant gratification society. We want it now. We want fast food. We want, everything to come now. And people were not patient enough, I think, with Biden, but we were heading in the right direction. So without going into all this, the point is, this is on both sides, all sides, less from independents, and we saw that with the APECs. But this is not a left versus right issue. This is a top versus bottom issue.
Yep.
And until we come together on that fact, this is going to continue. And I think, to August's point, if we don't give them the money, where is the money coming from?
Right.
I'm also of the opinion that you don't need to run billion-dollar campaigns. That is just crazy.
I agree.
They need to just take the money out of it, period.
Yeah. Let's see what you can do with no money. Let's see what you can do. How many votes could you gather with no money? Just a paper and a pen and markers.
Yeah.
Work it out.
If the government does has a select amount for every candidate, just think how much more fair it would be, and how many more people that are from our walk of life would be in office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like France has something similar. They have shorter election, I forget, cycles or whatever. They have a limit on the amount of money that candidates can receive, and I believe they get free like commercials and stuff, or time on television. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
we need, yeah.
The
Systemic-
only reason we're over there fighting in Iran is because they have oil and they have the stuff to make more weapons and mass destruction. And you see what they did to Gaza. They killed my relatives over there, the Palestinians, just so they could have the Riviera in the Middle East. That's all it's the have. We won't eat. They don't care if we eat. And if you saw what August had on yesterday, the stuff that we're eating, I said, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Can we put Angry Army Vet? Thank you so much. Can we put that? I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. Always great topics and conversations. Love you, ladies. And thank you for keeping me sane. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for being here. And because we have to build community in this. And that's how we all got together.
Yeah.
Was to support each other.
Like minds.
Absolutely. So a couple other things, and I'm going to give you a resource and we're going to look at it. So industries have spent the most on lobbying in Q2 of 2025. So you can I'm not going to read it all. You can look and see and go down the list and see who's spending an enormous amount of money lobbying our politicians.
Because the more prescriptions you fill, CVS will say, okay, here go $5, here go $10. And I say, oh, I can buy some more popcorn.
Well, and this is Andrea, crack me up. What makes me angry about this and seeing them at the top of the list is because our healthcare system is so broken, so broken. And the fact that it's the insurance companies that are running the medical offices. And you'll see
you live 100 years.
Yeah. And then one more, over half the Pentagon budget goes to contractors. Do you guys know that?
No.
Doesn't surprise me.
They're friends. They're friends.
Elon Musk get all those contracts and become the richest man in the world. Huh?
Okay, let's play and then we'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great site. It's called Open Secrets. Okay. And this will give you a lot of information.
I wanted to read that when Donald Trump was elected. Why?
Okay. So if you want to know, if you want to follow the money, go to this site and let's look at, you guys pick one. Who do you want to see?
Well, Hakeem
Jeffrey, she's
Hakeem?
right.
Okay, let's see Hakeem. So top industry, what retired means is this is basically rich people who aren't working anymore, but are contributing to his campaign. Okay, so that's what retired means. Look what's on the right. Where have we seen that before?
No.
APAC, top contributor. Yeah. So it tells you how much they raised, how much they spent, how much cash they have on hand. Now, all of this, I want to see more current. This is 23, 24, but you'll get an idea of where they're still getting their money. So we have APAC, BlackRock, Apollo Global Management, MetLife, Lockheed Martin. Top industries, securities and investment. So we talked about that in our graph. And so basically this is Wall Street. Okay, if you want to just narrow it down,
Really?
this is Wall Street.
Okay.
So this is such a great source of information. I think the other one I looked at, let's look at Schumer real quick.
Chuck Schumer.
4.9.
Republican.
So yeah, we can do a Republican.
Yeah.
Should do
So-
MAGA Mike.
Paul Weiss? Wow.
Mike Johnson.
Well,
Yeah.
look at the industries, securities and investment, lawyers. He gets a lot of money from wealthy donors. Interesting. TV, movies, and music.
Yeah.
Hollywood industry.
But the
Okay,
one
so
that Paul
who do we
Weiss-
want to see?
Mike
Johnson?
Johnson.
Mike Johnson.
Ugh, God.
Boy.
Look how also APAC. Rich
Shocker.
donors. Rich donors. Look how much money. Look how much money. APAC is a top contributor. Lockheed Martin.
Mhm.
Interesting. I'd like to follow this trail back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What was the-
Securities and investment.
The one was like national broadcasters.
Yeah. I
Yes.
wonder what that is.
You find that interesting? Yeah. Yeah.
Is that like CBS and like, Fox News and
Mhm.
The news. So this is I'll put the link in the description. So I would suggest everybody before the midterms, do your research, find out who's taking money from whom.
Donald
And
told them if they take any of the money back from the tariffs, they better watch out.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm torn during this midterm election because I really want to have the majority. And I think if it were another election, I might vote like thinking about APAC and all that. But I just can't like think
We
about the
can't
money.
continue. Right. We can't continue.
You
like
can't.
that.
I mean, like I feel like this is a fight for another election cycle, another like particularly like to get Donald Trump out when Donald Trump leaves. Has but I don't know. I'm just so torn. I'm really scared that if everybody votes like for a perfect candidate, that we'll lose.
No
This-
such thing as perfect.
People don't realize that this fight is not going to end just because he gets out of office. This is the start.
That's right. Because they
And
ain't
we-
gonna want to give up their money.
And we have to pay attention, and we have to do like when they sorry when Biden became the Democratic nominee, we just all got to get behind whatever, because it's just the start.
yeah. And there's a part
Yeah.
of that I do agree with, Marley, because I would say that to people that I knew that were voting third party with
Oh,
Harris and Trump. And I said, you know what, this is not the time to fight that battle
Yeah.
because we cannot let Trump win.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Give Kamala a chance,
Yeah.
right? She will do the right thing when it comes to Gaza, and I believe she would have,
We sang that so
Yeah,
loud.
I think so.
right? And so this is similar to that, but we also I think it's good to at least look at who they're taking money from, because you have more progressives
agree.
who are not.
Yeah.
So I think that's one factor. I don't think it should be a deciding factor, but I do think it's one factor. And then I think you're absolutely right, Marley. After we get out of this hellhole, then it's time for us to start demanding the country that we want.
Mhm.
Yes.
And now
Have
they want to look into the banks and see if what country you're a citizen of.
Yeah.
Now they're getting into your bank accounts.
Yeah. That's like so a violation of privacy. It shouldn't even matter. And if any bank gives it to it, I'm leaving the bank.
They have to. They're doing it. They
Oh my God,
They're
no.
making them. Yes, they already trying to get that data.
they're already doing it. Mm-hmm.
This is nuts. This is not our country. I'm sorry, but This is why we got to fight for democracy in our Constitution.
All that information that what it was the name of them when they came and took all of our information. Doge came and took all our information.
Yeah, that's scary as hell right there.
And he
Palantir
over
is the other.
all the apps. He wants the largest app in the world, he said.
But one of the things too is there are Dems that have taken money from Palantir and companies like that where they've covered it up like APAC does with all these different names. So again, that's something that even if we do vote Dems in, even if we do get stuff back, we have to say like, this is not cool. So you're back in, but you did this, you got to fix it.
Well, we still need to get rid of the Supreme Court.
We have a lot of work to do, Miss Andrea.
Well,
Sure do.
I don't think we ever realized that someone could go against the Constitution so much.
I can't even.
Got to go in there and clean that up.
They take an oath, Marley. I mean, Maureen. They take an oath.
They do.
Hey,
Yeah.
The oath doesn't mean anything if you don't enforce it. We've learned that.
Well, you think that oath on your honor, that there would be some honor and some integrity, but clearly there's not.
No.
So that's something just to keep an eye on. Hopefully that was informative for everybody. We are kind of running out of time, but I do want to highlight that we do have a Democratic candidate in California running for governor. That actually just moved ahead of the other Democrats in the race. So I just want to highlight this a little bit because we can talk more about it later. But this is, he gained a lot of ground in a very short amount of time. Let's just say that after last week's, fiasco with Swalwell.
This is good to hear.
Yeah.
It's organic. We didn't manufacture it. We couldn't have bought it. It's organic and it's coming. And when people say they're going to be there and they show up, it's real.
Eight days ago, Eric Swalwell's campaign for governor of California imploded in scandal, leaving the Democratic Party completely upended. The first polls out shocked Sacramento, showing Xavier Becerra rocketing up to the top of the pack. No one saw it coming. No one has a good explanation for why. So I'm heading out to catch the first flight from Sacramento to LA on a Saturday morning with one mission. I want to see what all the political experts are missing. Who are these voters rushing to Becerra and why?
So here we are about 30 minutes before the launch of one of probably the biggest campaign rallies of this California gubernatorial campaign cycle. There's a palpable energy here at the LA Convention Center as Xavier Becerra is about to take the stage. You can see his team doing the last minute preparations, pulling things together, trying to make sure that the sound check works, the lighting works, all of those last minute preparations, and a line has already begun to form outside of the hall. That's important because you've got to manage all of these expectations, and at the same time, you got to keep everybody enthused, engaged, and up and running. And what I'm looking for, the reason why I came down is because I want to see what the demographics of those people are. I came down literally to find out who's going to show up in a city as diverse as Los Angeles. Will it be Latinos? Will it be young people? Will it be old people? Will it be Asians, African Americans, white people from the West Side? Who's it going to be? Because that's going to tell us what is really a better snapshot than the actual polling we're likely to see later in the week. So stick with us and we'll find out what that's going to look like.
Cliffhanger. We'll do more of that on Friday. But that's exciting news.
Oh, it is.
Exciting
Oh, yeah.
news.
But I can't help to think, okay, who did he touch? Who did he abuse? Who did he, what's next? They're always digging. So I hope he's coming faithfully.
I get the sense that he's probably clean. They may try, but so
Katie Porter's totally out now.
no, well, she's still there, but the problem is you still have the Republicans.
Okay.
in the race. And for California, it's the top two.
Yeah, because we got that
got pretty bad.
primary.
Yeah.
Is one of them
So,
still the sheriff? Is one of them still that?
yeah. I
He's
pulled it
terrible.
up. Yeah, I believe it is.
Oh my God, the one that wanted to suppress like 600,000 votes.
I think so. I'll look at that. Wow, August. So I have a question. I think we probably need to go to August on the Move and talk about Patel Friday. Everybody okay with that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're fine with
Yeah,
that.
we'll talk
All
about it.
right. August is on the move.
Yes, I'm on the move. And guess what we always want to talk about? Let's see what the Trump kids are doing and son-in-law. Let's make sure that we have it. And let's hear from Stephanie Rule.
I just want to take a minute because as we keep discussing these peace talks, I think we need to press pause to highlight one of the prominent players in all of these talks, Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
let this fly by you. He is not a government employee. He has not received government.
They took my.
I just want to take a minute because as we keep discussing these talks, I think we need to press pause to highlight one of the prominent players in all of these talks, Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Don't let this fly by you. He is not a government employee. He has not received government clearance or congressional approval. The president has appointed him a special envoy for peace. So is he doing this as a patriotic favor to our great nation? Before you answer that question, there's something I think you should know about what could be a glaring conflict of interest. There are many reports that at the same time Kushner is trying to secure a peace deal in the Middle East, he's also trying to raise billions of dollars for his own investment firm, Affinity Partners. According to a regulatory filing seen by Bloomberg, as of 2026, the firm has raised over $6 billion. About 99% of the firm's assets, that's the $6 billion, belong to foreign investors, with key backers being Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE. So now, during a war where Jared Kushner is a key diplomatic negotiator knee-deep in Gaza and Iran, the New York Times is reporting that he's actively also trying to raise another $5 billion, and a lot of it from those very countries in the Middle East. That is according to 5 different people with knowledge of the talks. In a statement, the company said Kushner, quote, does not intend to take in any additional capital while volunteering for the government. But what he has not done is file the standard disclosure forms. The White House says he doesn't have to because he's just acting as a private citizen. Meanwhile, Jared's team is maintaining that he is well positioned to be a chief negotiator because of his experience and trusted relationships. And I want to be clear, experience and trusted relationships, key for winning diplomacy. Like billions and billions of dollars from the Saudis and personal family ties to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Key relationships that Jared has personally. Thought you should know. I just want to.
All right, talk back to me. How you
Hey,
feel about that?
I feel like they tried to destroy Hunter over $1 million. And they talking about billions. They went after Hunter like his drawers stank.
Maybe they did.
Oh, it's hypocrisy. You know,
Yeah. Oh my God.
constant.
That's been going on for a long time with that family. Even Trump's first, he was always had Kushner at his side.
Yep.
Is
Well,
there
Because
is there a
Kushner
chip?
and Bernie were Democrats until Kushner married Ivanka. Ivanka, converted to Judaism, and then all of a sudden, like Kushner's like, and his dad was like the best people in the world. But that they're also fleecing, like Saudi Arabia and stuff, and it's all about the personal gain for the entire family, the Kushners and the Trumps.
You think there's a chip, and I think there's a chip in Donald Trump's brain that he is working for every other operative to destroy this country. I don't know how many times to say it, how many ways to say it.
He has to have a brain first, though.
Well, but that's why the chip is in it. He never had one to begin with.
Elon put it in.
Somebody put it in.
Well, let's talk about the other 2 sons. What are they up to?
Same
So Power Us is one of the dozens of drone companies competing for Pentagon contracts right now, except that this one is partially owned by both Don Jr. and Eric Trump. The Associated Press is reporting that Power Us is flushed with cash and just ballooning in size as it buys up its rivals. And it's hoping to win some of the $1.1 billion set aside by the Pentagon to basically build a manufacturing base for armed drones since the Trump administration banned importing drones from China. The company makes drones mostly for commercial use, like spreading fertilizer or putting out forest fires, but it's growing fast to supply the Defense Department with armed drones like the ones used in the Russia-Ukraine war and most recently by Iran. Power Us actually bought 3 rivals in the past 6 months and plans to buy more, and the AP is reporting that it's raised $60 million from investors to fund this buying spree. Of course, this is getting some criticism. A government ethics expert told the AP that this is straight up corruption because government decision makers will obviously feel pressure to award contracts to enrich the president's family. We've seen similar backlash when the Trump family expanded its real estate empire to foreign countries that were trying to curry favor with the president, and for making billions off crypto ventures that benefited from Trump's policies. Power Us says that there's no problem with it bidding for government contracts that could enrich the president's sons. They actually said, quote, whatever they're doing is what they're doing. But both the Associated Press and Newsgirls will continue to report on the Trump family investments, so follow to stay in the loop.
As Rachel would say, watch this space. Last but not least, I want to bring to you guys, but while I'm bringing up that, let's hear from you guys. How you feel about this?
Don't ask us.
When we get out of this and they debrief, I think we are going to be horrified about how much money they actually stole from the American people and how much they grifted from all the other countries. And I just think this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm afraid. I think we're going to be horrified.
This is the only stuff that they're even letting us see like come to light.
Right.
And the thing that really gets me too is like, if any other, Joe Schmo out of wherever tried to do anything even like this, they would immediately get their asses sent to jail.
Yeah.
But now, we've got Dumb and Dumber and Dumbest all out there doing whatever they want like it's nothing. And it's insanity. It's pure insanity. People are starving. People are dying. People are losing their health care. And this is what we have to deal with.
And also, we lost medical research, cancer research, everything that would help people alive. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick and tired of seeing so many celebrities, activists, political people dying of cancer because, we stopped research because of these idiots.
And also, food regulations are gone, and medical, they're trying to hide stuff now regarding a bunch of vaccines, and it's crazy.
All of these, he got on these people, Epstein. These people done been to the island. Yep. They done got their booty rubbed, and now they can't say nothing.
Well, August is going to finish her move by wrapping it up with the following. Please make sure you guys listen up. It ties back in to the postmortem of what Kim brought to the whole ideology of what really took place. Here we go.
I talked about why we're here as a country all the time, and this is the number one question that I get. My comments, DMs, all the time. How is it that the entire world sees how stupid we are? And they're wondering, how did you elect this moron? And it's a very simple answer, and it has to be said again and again. Because he's white.
That's right.
Remember the outrage over Obama wearing a tan suit?
Oh, yeah.
Remember the outrage over a black man taking a knee? The audacity. Remember the outrage? They still talk about it. But the white man in this white supremacist country can do no wrong. I reference the quote from LBJ all the time, and I paraphrase it for 2026, that this country We went to the voting booth as a country, not me, because I don't drink from the toilet. And you voted for a white man that rapes women, that is best friends with a child molester and defends child molesters, who is a convicted felon, who committed tax fraud, who cheats on all of his wives, one with a porn star, who asked for the execution of black people, who questioned the birth of Barack Obama, who said they're eating the dogs and cats, who made fun of disabled people. And 77 million people looked at that and said, damn, I wish there was a better option. And they voted for the white man because they didn't want to vote for the black woman because they're racist.
That's right. That was it.
250 years. 250 years. 51% of our country are women. Anybody, answer me why we've never had a woman. We're the greatest country in the world. God created us all equal in his image, right? Then why is it that a woman can't be president?
Let's put the Bibles in the school.
A man who sat on his fat ass, crapping his diapers, wearing orange makeup while officers were beaten. Howard Lebergood took his own life after January 6th. Jeffrey Smith took his own life after January 6th.
Yep.
Hunter Hashida, Kyle DeFreitig, an officer Sitnik died the next day.
Yeah.
And 77 million people overlooked this because they wanted the white man.
Yep.
They chose him over Hillary Clinton. We had a little bump in the road with an old crusty white man, Joe Biden. This isn't complicated, friends.
What about my Joe?
I don't know what answer you want to hear. It had nothing to do with the economy. What do you hear now, right? I voted for him because of prices. Eggs, gas, eggs.
Mm-hmm.
We came out of a global pandemic where millions of people died from a deadly virus.
Yep.
And you bitched and moaned because prices were expensive. Well, no shit. Because the global economy came down because people were dying. And he said, oh, yeah, but stuff was expensive. Biden. And now that gas is going up, what do you hear? Well, it's for the best of America. Yeah, I'm willing to pay $25 a gallon because I'm a patriot. Because it was never about the price of goods.
Nope.
My friends, it's about white supremacy. That's it.
That's right.
Donald Trump could eat a baby on national TV and his white trash base would still vote for him because he's white.
Absolutely.
And I'm sick and tired of this country refusing to have that damn conversation. I'm tired of it. We're here because since 1619, white people have ignored all of the atrocities that we've committed. We have. We've shit on anybody that doesn't look like me, and it's disgusting. Because of white privilege, we sat by while black people were hung in trees and babies were torn out of women's uteruses. The Middle Passage, where over 1 million black people died. When we put Asians in internment camps, we sit by while victims of school shootings. Doesn't affect me. I'm white. Who cares? And 77 million people said, well, I just want immigrants here legally. Then tell me, why did you vote for a rapist white man?
That's
a
right.
Convicted felon. Why? Why was that okay? But somehow the brown people coming from Mexico that do the jobs that Americans are too lazy to do, let the border, wide open border, the brown people. I mean, I can't be a racist because you are racist.
You are.
You got people that bust their ass and work hard, build houses, and they do food service and own businesses. They're good people. They love this country more than MAGA does. And you convinced yourself that you're not racist because you said, oh, wow, I just want people here legally. They've never committed felonies, never done anything. In fact, some of the people Trump is supporting served this country in the military, and he's deporting them because they're fucking not white. Why do you think he wants to overturn the 14th Amendment? Because he only wants white people. Stephen Miller said what? I want 100 million white people only. Like Thanos, he's a Nazi. Andy Ogles posting videos of 9/11 when Zoran Mondavi is running. You have the Young Republican Party in Miami-Dade and New York in the last 3 months posting Nazi group chats with the N-word. You have the Grand Wizard in the White House taking down the slavery history at the president's house in Philadelphia. What do you think this is about? It's about fear of a white minority. I sound like a broken record. I can't make you people give a shit about this. You either want to talk about it or you don't, but too many white people are sitting in your comfort right now. Oh, I can't talk about it because Uncle Bob. Do you not think that I have people that have cut me off because of what I do here? Friends, family? I got family that they care more about something that only affects them. They don't care about these dead officers.
Selfish.
Yeah.
And that is August on the move. Wake
Ooh.
up, people.
Wow.
Wake up.
That
Wake
was
up.
good. He was,
That was
good.
great. That was great. I'm
Wake
sorry.
up.
I feel like him absolutely 120%. Like, I want to
Yeah.
go and join him.
And something too we just don't talk about is, yes, there were 2 women that ran for president, and they were probably 2 of the most qualified people to ever run for president. But
Absolutely.
because these idiots care more about what's between their legs than what good they bring, that's why we're in this mess. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm with you, Katie. And the thing too is, like, both women are like in the area of where they're not having babies. So one of the biggest complaints I hear about, having a woman president is like, oh, her hormones and stuff, and stuff like, yeah, but we have also, like, they're kind of not at that stage right now. And 2, it's something called empathy.
They don't know how a woman's body works. Let's be real.
Exactly. And they don't want to know.
Yeah, as the current president throws tantrums left and right, can't control his anger, throws cheeseburgers at the wall. I mean, Jesus.
Says the F word on Easter.
Yeah, that was the best one.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
never want to hear ever again that women are too emotional.
Yeah.
When we've got
Bullshit.
we've got the biggest baby sitting there.
Yep.
It's bullshit.
I agree.
Okay, so before we do Andrea's funnies, I want to give you an update. So California governor heading into the primary, you've got Republicans Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, who's the sheriff, and Democrats Tom Steyer and Xavier Becerra and Katie Porter. Those are the main 5, I would say.
Okay.
And then they have notable candidates are Matt Mahan, the mayor of San Jose, and Tony Thurmond, California superintendent. So we've got, 2 main Republicans, 3 main Democrats. So
when I got my booklet, could you believe, Kim, how many names? I have never seen so many people running for office. It went on.
when we showed that list, I say it was like never ending. But this, these are floating to the top. So that's good.
Well, that's
Tom
good.
Steyer, when I was looking at that website, how much money he gave to Biden's campaign, I'm like, holy cow. Okay. So that's the rich guy. Okay. So we have a couple funnies from Miss Andrea to close out our show.
My favorite part.
All right, here we go.
You have to read it. And my son, I read it.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, my son was asking his teacher to put the word obituary in a sentence.
My dad would laugh at that one.
Worry about my homework so much.
Oh boy,
homework too much.
Miss Andrea. Yeah. So we have
Mike, Dad would love that one.
Yeah. So let's show one more.
Picture where he don't even know what it means.
All right, last one for the road.
Two drunks and a rapist.
No.
Go ahead.
Two drunks and a rapist walk into the White House and they completely fuck this country up. Just to show you how white people can fuck shit up and still get a job. One guy promised not to be a drunk on the job. He got hired. Another guy is drinking on the job. Now he has to prove he's not a drunk. And another guy shits on himself, falls asleep, and can't remember a goddamn thing. Mike's Comedy Club this weekend, Jackson, Mississippi. Watch out there now. Two rapists.
Two drunks and a rapist.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, everybody. Thank you for sticking with us today. We went over, but hopefully you found some benefit in the information that we shared because it is important. Seems like we lost Marley somewhere.
She went out to dinner.
Yeah, I had to go to dinner.
Oh, okay. Okay. So again, please like and subscribe because it does help the algorithm. It helps get our message out to more people. And we know you all do, and we so appreciate you. Thank you so much for all of your comments today and your participation in the polls. Thank you, Katie, for doing the polls. Thank you, August, for running our comments and bringing us some. That last guy was great. I want to look him up. He was spot on. And
I would love to bring him on.
Drunks and rapists. That was funny.
That was
good.
Oh
my God, that's hilarious.
That's who's running the country.
It's so true, huh?
It's so sad.
And if you are so inclined, we would love for you to become a member and really help support the work. Again, we just appreciate you being here. But if you are so inclined and can become a member, we would be greatly appreciative of that. So everybody have a good night. We'll be back here on Friday. Keep your heads up, keep the hope alive.
And we really gonna have August on the move on Friday.
We'll all be on the move on Friday. We'll share that a little bit more with you on Friday. So anyway, love you. Have a great night and we'll see you next time.
Reporter.
We the people unite.